As part of my long-term test drive with the 2020 Mazda 6, I thought I'd do something different, so I called up a good friend of mine, Joe LaRue, who owns Amadio's Pizza, and asked him if I could run around town for a bit delivering his award-winning pizzas for him, and he said, sure, let's see what happens. So we're using the 2020 Mazda 6 Signature trim, 2.5-liter turbo 4-cylinder engine, up to 250 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque, all through a 6-speed automatic. And the interior is just absolutely gorgeous, elegant, and beautiful, and to me it's a borderline luxury vehicle. Joe earned the 2016 Canadian Pizza Chef of the Year award, which is pretty fantastic, and between himself, his wonderful and talented wife Margit, and his entire team, they've earned so many accolades and awards throughout their 30-year career. And I think having a small local business where you care about the community and you give back to the community is so important, and the entire team at Amadio's does that consistently ever since day one. And yes, they're my favorite pizza place in the city.
Right now, the COVID-19, every Monday I'm bringing over a bunch of pizzas that we pre-made and put into Ziploc bags for the compass. And it's just a small thing that we do for the community.
Fresh red peppers, artichoke hearts, and green peppers and bacon.
Green peppers and chicken, and I like mushrooms a lot.
When you see the smile on people's faces when they walk in and they anticipate how good the pizza is. Dedication. Dedication to the quality.
Quality and heart and passion. It's become, like we do not want to put out a bad pizza, and we have a money back guarantee. If you don't like our pizza, tell us. We'll give you back your money.
Being able to feed people their favorite foods and make people happy.
So the orders come in through phone or online, and the right size dough is brought out, and here's Allison being a pro at the hand tossing of the dough. From there, the toppings are selected, depending on what the customer wants, and then carefully put on the pizza, and Joe's always been really good about consistency. So from there, pizza goes in the oven, and here's a shot of the pizza coming out of the oven, put into the right size box, and from there the pizza gets cut up into even pieces, ready for the next step, which is getting closer to my role in this whole operation. So tickets come out of the machine telling me what pizzas and where they go, and there's a look at the order numbers as well and the promised time for the delivery. Got my bags all stacked up. I did pick up an extra delivery while I was taping this, so that's why there are 3 bags and only 2 tickets. So open the trunk, put the pizzas in the trunk, flat and secure, and trunk gets closed. So this is pretty much the same thing as you saw, but this is the outside of the car view, and I could probably stand to lose around 15-20 pounds and maybe I better lay off the pizza. Anyways, my addresses have been preloaded into my phone, and the phone's hooked up to the 2020 Mazda 6 Apple CarPlay, so completely hands-free, and off I go. So in regards to where I'm putting the pizzas in the 2020 Mazda 6, I'm not putting them in the rear seats. A couple of reasons. One, it's white leather, and yes, the pizzas are in boxes, and those pizza boxes go in pizza bags, so there's a very low chance of anything happening to them, but if anything does, I don't want to damage the white leather. Secondly, you can see the seats are on an incline, and pizza's supposed to be served flat, and this is definitely not flat, so I've opted to go for the trunk because, as you can see, it is a perfectly flat trunk. And yes, I still have the snow brush from winter. Haven't used that in a long time. But anyways, pizzas go in the trunk. It's a lot bigger, it's flat, and it holds about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pizzas, maybe 6. So I'll show you how I set up the inside of the 2020 Mazda 6 for these pizza deliveries. So these are my regular keys, and I don't keep them in my pocket because it's just big and it's bulky. So I keep the key fob with me at all times, and it just goes in my jeans pocket. Other reason for that is if it's in there with the rest of my keys, I can't open the trunk because, as you can see, I'm pushing the button. pushing the button, there it is, nothing's happening because the key fob is over there and it's too far to activate the remote trunk over here. So I always keep my actual, just the Mazda key itself. Can we see that? In my pocket. So jumping in, it's a pretty easy setup. I do not always have a camera, it's just for this video. I don't always have a camera mount because that is for this video. It's still sunny outside, so my sunglasses are kept here. And the debit machine goes here because, as you can see, it pretty much perfectly fits. So it's always there, out of the way, no risk of it kind of falling. Also, the little storage cubby is angled downwards. Can you see that? Kind of downwards like that. So it keeps it nice and in place. CarPlay gets hooked up to that. I have my USB cord right there. It's in there. Just trust me, it's in there. I try and keep this closed as much as possible. I keep some receipts in here for when the debit transactions and credit transactions go through. And because it's got a cool closable section, and I keep the windows open for the fresh air, it prevents things from flying around. So pretty easy setup as far as the actual mechanics of being in the car go. So as I'm waiting for my next order to come out, I've got to make sure I have the right ticket number, I've got the right address, I've got the right pizza. Do they have drinks? Do they have a salad? What time is it promised to them by? Or, thereabouts, because you can't really change traffic patterns. And sometimes you're at the mercy of every red light. You can't speed because, no one wants to get pulled over. You can't break any laws. You can't do any weaving and dangerous and aggressive driving. So yes, it's an easy job overall, but there's lots of small little steps you got to make sure you go through in order consistently to make sure that customers get exactly what they want when they want it. So what's good about Joe's delivery area is it's about 6 to 7 kilometers north and 6 to 7 kilometers west and 6 to 7 kilometers east. You can't really go much more than like a quarter kilometer south because, well, the lake's there and I can't quite deliver to the lake despite how good the 2020 Mazda 6 is. But I've got to say, it's a very comfortable ride. I've had to take the highway maybe 1 out of every 10 deliveries. And the 250 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque do a wonderful job of getting me up to speed really quickly. As I mentioned in part 1, part 2, and part 3 of my review on the Mazda 6, it's a very balanced ride. It's a very smooth ride, and it's a comfortable ride. Hauling pizzas in the trunk, it's just that much more, I wouldn't say enjoyable, but it's a lot more comfortable than what you may see for a typical pizza delivery car. The other guy that does deliveries has an old Subaru Impreza hatchback. Still runs, still great, but when I've pulled up to people's houses in a 2020 Mazda 6, they're like, "You must be doing pretty well." I'm like, instead of getting into the whole story, I'm like, you know what? I'm doing all right. So that's gonna wrap up the driving segment. And again, 6 pizzas in the trunk. The GPS, or not GPS, other GPS. The debit machine fits perfectly in the little front console area. And the 2020 Mazda 6, I don't know if I drive it permanently to deliver pizzas. It's a new car. I like the new car smell as opposed to the smell of pizza.